Hello everybody, welcome to another tutorial. Um, my name is Farhan. It's been a long time since I posted a tutorial. I've been really busy with other things. So without further ado, here we go. This tutorial is going to be about geolocation. Geolocation is something that you find yourself using in most device-related apps. And I for sure have been using geolocation in most of the apps that I've written. Um, so I'm going to talk about how you can get live location, live latitude and longitude, and how you can use that in your app. This tutorial will also talk about maps. I will at first I will show you how to get your live location, and then I will show you how to plot this on a map. Um, I'm going to cover only Apple Maps in this tutorial. Um, of course, you might want to use Google Maps, especially if you're going to program on an Android uh, as an Android app, because there are no Apple Maps on Android, of course. So the second part of my tutorial will talk about setting up things with Google Maps. I'm going to start by just creating a simple React Native app, which is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to do React Native init location tutorial. This will take some time to set up. Okay, here we are. We have a very simple, very base project setup. I'm just going to open the iOS project from Xcode, and I'm going to run it to see if everything is okay. Okay, so our project is built. It's now running. Here we go. Let's just open the code here and see what that looks like. I'm sure you're familiar with this by now. It's just a pretty standard React Native code. Luckily, there is nothing, there's no extra modules that we need to install to get the user's location. We can just use a built-in library called geolocation, which comes from the navigator library. And what for that, all we need to do is just, I'm going to start by adding the constructor and setting the state with the latitude 0. And I'm going to start the component with mount locals because I want to be able to determine my location like fairly frequently. So let's say I'm walking around, I want to be able to know like where I am every 5 or 10 meters. So what I need to set up here is something called the watch. This dot watch ID, and I initialize that to navigator, which is again a built-in library. This is actually part of JavaScript, which you can use in your web apps as well. Dot geolocation dot watch position, and what I'm going to do here is that whenever a position has been retrieved, I want to set the state with the new latitude. And that I can do by doing position codes dot latitude. Latitude is position dot codes dot latitude. That's it. What this will do is that whenever the watch position method returns a new location, it's sent in this position variable, and then this state gets updated. The second parameter in this method is the error handler. So what do you do when the location cannot be determined or whatever, if there is some kind of an error? So I'm just gonna set the state error to be error.message. And then finally, here are some extra parameters that are quite important. And depending on how you want to use the app, you might want to adjust these parameters. So let's say you want to update your location fairly frequently, and you want the accuracy to be very high. This is where you set the parameters. So the first one I will use is enable high accuracy. This I will set to false, because if I set this to true, then it just uses a lot of my battery, and I don't want to, and I don't want my app to use a very large amount of my battery as I'm using it. Timeout is 1 second, which means that every 1 second I want to know what new location is. Maximum age is a similar parameter. It tells me how long, after what point this location expires. And then the distance, there is a distance filter parameter as well, which says that if the distance moved is more than 1 meter, I want to know what my new location latitude and longitude is. You might want to change these values and come up with like a figure that works for you. But for me, just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just gonna keep them like this. Now that I have the state, I just want to be able to see what it is, so I'll just keep this. And I'll just say my location is this state longitude, comma this state longitude. This I only want to show if I do have a latitude and longitude. So I can just go check here if this starts to longitude, and then show this, otherwise show the text. I don't know where you are. That's pretty much all we need to show what my current location is. I'm just going to run this in my simulator and see what it shows me. Oh, this automatically now requests this permission. Make sure when you bundle the iPhone app, you have the right parameter strings, otherwise your app will not be accepted on the iTunes store. So I'm just going to allow this. So this is showing my location is 4107 and 2907, and I'm sure you're wondering where that came from. Well, within the iPhone simulator, the iOS simulator, you have something called debug menu, where you can specify what location you want it to be. So I'm just going to change the location to be 41.06 and 1.9.1, and as you can see, the location is updated. The location reporting is fairly frequent, so you can just enter whichever location you want it to be, and it should update right away. So if you just wanted to get what your current location was and you wanted to watch as you move with your phone, then this is all you need to get your current location. But I'm going to do one more step, and I'm going to show this location on the map. For setting up a map, we need something called React Native Maps, and to set that up, I'm just going to go back to the terminal, close this bundle, and in my project, I will run the command npm install React Native Maps --save. This will install the library that will allow us to show maps within our app. This supports both Android and iOS, as many libraries into and on iOS it allows you to use both Google Maps and Apple Maps. By default, of course, it's going to use Apple Maps. And in the second part of my tutorial, I'll show you how to use Google Maps as well. Setting up Google Maps is time consuming and it's annoying because libraries are often not in sync, and the the process for setting up the library is rather complicated. So please check back later for the second part of my tutorial. But for now, let's just use Apple Maps. It's installed. Typically, after you install a package, you need to link it to your project. So for that, I'll just use the Apple link. As you can see, I'm getting an error right now. It's cannot find module asap/raw. For some reason in this version of React Native, I am getting this error, and it can be fixed by simply doing npm install. It just installs the necessary packages, which it didn't install at first when I set up the React Native project. I don't know why it does that, but that's how you deal with it. Okay, this is installed. Let's try that again. Okay, that's it. I'm going to stop my project just to be sure and start it again so that the package manager runs again. And meanwhile, I'm going to go into my code, and I would like to see what my maps look like. So to display a map, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to import map view from React Native Maps, and map view, use the map view tag, and this just needs a style, and for the styles I'm just going to do position. I just wanted to cover the whole screen, so I'm just going to use position absolute left 0, top 0, right 0, bottom 0. Just going to see how far the build is going. Okay, so I'm just going to wait until this build is complete. Okay, as you can see that Apple Maps are showing in full screen while on the app. Let's just do a little bit more, and let us add a marker to our map. To do that, all we need to do is we need to add a marker. And marker requires a parameter called coordinate. Coordinate. I can just add latitude and longitude here, and this will show a marker on the map, but I don't want it to be 0, 0. Let me just pick a point. I found that on Google Maps you can just be anywhere in the map, and you can just right click any location, and you can just do what's here, and it will show you the latitude and longitude. So I'll just copy paste this latitude and longitude, and save that, refresh and see where it shows the marker. Oh, can't find the marker. You have to import that. go. Okay, so that shows a marker, but it's super zoomed out. And the way you fix that is by defining an initial region of the map view. Let initial region is equals to I want the region of the map to be centered around this coordinate, and I also want it to be a certain size, and I do that by saying that the definition delta is a value that's 0.1 or 0.01. The smaller this value, the closer it gets to 0, the more zoomed in it will be. So I also need to provide a longitudinal delta, so I'll just do 0, 1, and then here we have initial region equals to initial region. And let's see how that looks. As you can see, the marker is right in the middle, and it's zoomed fairly closely around it. I also want to be able to now show where I am on the map. So I'll add a second marker coordinate and set that to my location, which I can retrieve from the state. So I can just do let my location is connect to this longitude, and this longitude is this longitude, and set this coordinate to be my location. So let's see how that shows up. The second marker isn't here because we have to specify where it needs to be. I'll just set the custom location to be basically the same, 41.06038 and 29.061.824, but let's just move that a little bit. Let's make it 69, and let's make that. So the moment I set that, the second marker, which we have drawn here, has moved a little bit. We can move it to the right a little bit as well. We just need to add some value. So as you can see, as I'll be walking around, this marker should move with me. There are many different parameters of markers. I can change the color. Let's just change the pin color to be green. Yeah, so that just shows up as a green marker. There are many other properties of these markers and MapView, which I will not go into in this tutorial. To look at these properties, all you need to do is go to the React Native Maps documentation, and they have very good and very detailed docs about how to use the map and how to set regions and what the parameters of each of these components are. And you can pretty much draw any kind of map you want, and it's fairly easy to do so. As I explained earlier, I will now talk about, in the second part of my tutorial, I will talk about displaying the same information but using Google Maps. We also want it to be cross-platform, and Apple Maps is not available on Android, so Google Maps is adoption. So this concludes my tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Getting your location and showing it on a map is fairly straightforward, fairly easy. If you have any questions, please write in the comment section and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Thank you very much.